Hello, y'all. Doing some solo Duchess gameplay today. A status build only. Well, mostly only. I'm not using any staves this run. No magic, no nothing. Here are my relics up on screen. Here's what I got going. I got the Everdark Augur relic going on here. Give me some much needed, not much needed, but some extra tankiness. Good old HP recovery as well. We have the Stamina Back on Hit relic. The Bloodborne Rally relic. Watch as I get Torch Hollowed. And of course we have Chilling Mist paired with Bleed. Excellent combination, really can't go wrong. Critical hits right there. We picked up some damage negation upon landing charge attacks, which is very good on Duchess, actually. So people don't realize how nice it is because they never use her heavy attacks, which I think is rather criminal. Duchess's heavy attacks, well, her one-handed heavy attack anyway, is really good. So, yeah, not using any staves this run. I will be entering this Rise just to see if I find any good passives in there, but not using any Shattering Crystal, not using any Carrion Slicer, because I want to show off a run where you can just do a full-on expedition using nothing but Duchess with daggers and perform incredibly well. We have a Shattering Crystal right there. We're not going to take it. We're going to go for the improved damage negation of full HP, which is excellent on Duchess because she pairs beautifully with the partial HP restoration upon post-damage attacks. That's a mouthful. I'm never saying it again. Bloodborne Rally. The best passive for Duchess, however, is Successive Attacks Negate Damage. Pairing that with improved negation of full HP on Duchess practically makes her nigh unkillable when she has Rally, including in Deep of Night, which this expedition is not in Deep of Night. This is just against Everdark Fulgor because I saw that he was back for the week and I had to go fight my goat, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure he's everyone's, or mostly everyone's, favorite Everdark boss. But yeah, a lot of people think that the only good way to play Duchess is making her only a mage, which I think is rather ridiculous. As I believe the best way to play her is the way that she's advertised to the player, which is a hybrid of melee and spellcasting. However, when it comes down to melee, well, if you're running around with just a normal dagger, Don't do that. If you want to focus on a melee focused playstyle with Duchess, please use status effects. Mainly Frost if you can only pick one. However, if you can go with two, then absolutely go with Frost and Bleed. Frost and Bleed on Duchess is extremely powerful, despite her lower arcane due to her very fast attack speed with daggers and restage, which you're going to see take place here. If you get a God Skin, doesn't matter which one, out of an Everjail, congratulations, Christmas came early. And we already, this guy, he's almost dead. Like, 6 feet, just, boom, dead. 6 feet under. That's it. Yeah, if you get a Godskin with a status Duchess, or, you know, if you're playing as Executor as well, running his usual status stuff, they melt very fast. So please do not sleep on a possible status Duchess because of, oh, she has lower arcane. No. Do not pay attention to the stats. Pay attention to the moveset at hand and what her tools are. That is a Lightning Lord Sword and Straight Sword. We're going to grab that because we are fighting Darkdrift Knight, so we want lightning damage for him. And we're just gonna melt this guy real quick, restage that, all that damage is gonna play again. Make sure we don't get bonked. Grab the smithing too. We are gonna be leveling up the dagger, of course. As again, not using any staves, which is on purpose. You can very easily play this exact build that I am right now and use staves. You can use Carrion Slicer and Shattering Crystal to your little heart's content. I encourage it even. That is the way that you should be doing it. I'm purposely not doing it just to show that you don't need to. The main ways that people tend to run Duchess are one of three. Either a fully maged build, which is very good, a crit-focused build, which is the more interesting one, I think, and then a status Duchess build, which is what I do. Of the three, a status Duchess build, I believe, is the most versatile by far, because you lean into her strengths that she has straight out of the gate when you do a status build. You are using restage to do further burst damage of your own burst damage, right? As the point of restage is to obviously replay huge chunks of damage that happen. And the best way to have Duchess herself cause that high amounts of damage in quick succession is via a status build. Now, you can get the same results with a High Bellbearing Hunter, with a mage build, but when you do a mage build, like a Carrion Slicer build, there's a caveat, and that's it's very RNG. You may not get Carrion Slicer, or you may not get a Shattering Crystal. And then the whole build falls apart, and you're kind of have a headache going, well, shoot, I didn't get what I want, and my build is basically useless. That's why running a status build with Duchess, I believe, is so good, because you will always have your starting armament, no matter what. I will always have Chilling Mist. I will always have Bleed on my starting weapon. I will always be able to use things like the Bloodborne Rally. I have Stamina back on hit. I have all these things that are facilitating my go-to fresh out of the gate playstyle that my character starts with every single time. In a game filled with RNG, consistency will always rule. At least, that's what I think. Now, it isn't as if Duchess suddenly can't use spells when doing a status build. Quite the contrary. Frostbite further facilitates the damage that things like Shattering Crystal or Carrion Slicer would give you. I was being greedy there with this guy. Being Frostbite reduces defense by 20%. That's just 20% more damage you'll start doing once you activate it with your Carrion Slicers, for example. You should absolutely still be on the hunt for good staves when you use this build, but if you don't get them, there's no sweat. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Now, do I think this build works best in solo or in co-op? The answer to that is yes. It works well in both. Or I should say all three ways to play, which is solo, duos, and trios, of course. The most played way of Nightreign, I think the way that most people play this game is with trios, which makes sense. It is what the game was advertised for. And this build performs perfectly fine in trios. In fact, the amount of damage feeling that you'll be doing is fairly similar across all three ways to play, including Deep of Night as well, because Frost and Bleed are percentage-based damages. Frostbite deals 10% of the enemy's health bar, while Bleed does 20%. So if both proc in close proximity, that's 30%, and then when you restage it, you're doing 50% of that, it adds up pretty fast, and suddenly the boss is down halfway before you even realize it. Which is what makes this build so strong, is the consistency. The vast majority of enemies in this game are going to be weak to at least one of these two statuses. I tried to backstep that, I didn't get it. If you don't go for Aura Farm as Duchess, are you really playing as Duchess? I'm just saying. So let's see, what do we get here? Improved guard breaking, we go for the stamina. Add the Augur Relic. Health bars almost back to full HP, which will proc the defense boost. Right there. Still on the hunt for successive attacks negate damage. Not getting it, though. So, my rambling aside, I do think that a very powerful way to play Duchess is by leaning into a status build and using whatever spells that you find along the way. I know some will disagree, saying, well, a Shattering Crystal build does so much damage, and yes, it absolutely does. I have ran such a build. I've ran Shattering Crystal builds. I've done Carrion Sword Sorcery builds, and both of them are insanely powerful. However, this is just consistent. I too have been in those trenches trying to find this one stupid spell, and I don't find it. And I'm driving myself crazy as well as my teammates, and I got to a point where I said, okay, let me try just doing full-on status Duchess, which is the way I originally started playing her in the beginning, though I only had Frostbite. And it was really fun, and then I started going more into sorceries, and then crits. Like, I jumped around a lot. I have a lot of games on this character. But then I managed to get this Frost and Bleed setup going, and I fell in love. The amount of games that I have carried with randoms using this same build, or a very similar one, is plentiful. Now, I did get lucky getting Chilling Mist paired with Stamina back on hit, or, I'm sorry, Stamina recovery upon landing attacks. Okay, I believe I dropped that critical hits there. I go for another improved negation full HP. Just have it stacked with my other one. If you want to try a build like this, but you really can't get it going, I personally would recommend to you that you run the Caligo Relic with the relic that you get from the Small Jar Bazaar shop, which has the Rally paired with a Vigor +2 and Poise +2. And then if you can slot in Bleed, do it. If you can't, then try to slot in something that has Stamina back on hit, and just kind of run with that. Try to get used to it. I do think running a status build on Duchess is also a good way to learn the character. A lot of people, my friends, for example, who started playing Duchess more recently, were like, wow, getting used to doing restage is weird. And playing a status focused build on Duchess is great to learn her, because you proc the statuses and then you tell your brain, oh, press the funny button like that, and then things die. It's pretty sweet. I'm gonna get a charge attack here just to boost the damage negation. These enemies are kind of annoying. Royal Revenant. Oh god. The nightmares that these guys are in normal Elden Ring. I mean, they're still pretty annoying here, but in normal Elden Ring they are A terror. Very weird. Spawns right where he... Okay, just warps in the same spot. Never seen this one coming. We get the stagger to the riposte. Do restage, get a nice bit of damage. I went for a fully charged R2 combo there. You never really want to do that as Duchess. When you use her heavy attacks, you mainly just want to use her normal one-handed R2 poke. That attack is really good. It does quite a bit of stance damage for a dagger attack, so please do not sleep on it. And when you get successive attacks that get damage, it can be very useful to use that against bosses to proc it faster. So here I almost die. Bless that tree that blocked the attack. It's either the tree or the rock. So don't do crazy things like that. Yeah. Black Knife. This enemy can be a bit annoying with a dagger-only Duchess because she doesn't stun easily. Even to your heavy attacks, which is kind of insane because Banished Knights stun. But sometimes this boss just gets quite a bit of poise. Try to go for a backstep there. Sorry, backstab. Didn't get it. Charged sorceries. That would have been nice if I had Shredding Crystal. I don't. Whatever is what it is. Because just not going for sorceries. I take out some of these fellas here because they will get in our way when we're trying to take out Loretta up there. So Loretta is an example of an enemy that is resistant to magic damage. But not super resistant to status effects. So we're making good use of that here. And yeah, just watching the Glint Blades mainly. Charge R2. Get the Frost proc. Doing a little bit of extra damage. Get the Stance Break. Bleed. Restage isn't back yet. So if there is one Duchess exclusive relic effect I wish I had, it would be the Dagger Reprisal. If I had the Dagger Reprisal on this build, I feel it would truly be complete. That or the improved skill attack power just for a stronger restage. But honestly, I think I would rather have the Dagger Reprisal so I can more frequently go into just a restage, even if it is a slightly weaker one. The Dagger Reprisal restage, I believe, is 40% of the damage, whereas the normal restage is 50%. So it isn't a drastically less option in terms of your damage. Loretta does this sometimes, she just keeps backing up, but we managed to take her out pretty fast. We get a Blade of Calling, improved critical hits 24%. It's a thing of beauty. We definitely slot that in. I'm trying to find the Grace. There we go. So now we're going for the Magma Worm. And against this Magma Worm, I could be using the Lightning Lord Sworn, Straight Sword, to do more damage because it is a dragon enemy. But I don't. I wanted this to be, for the most part, just all dagger. Which is what we're going to do here. So go into some charge R2s, because you'd be surprised how fast this thing actually does Stance Break. For, you know, being a dagger attack. We're going to get the Frost and Bleed. I just barely got that Bleed hit. And he's almost stance broken. One more is going to do it. Boom. Go for another charge R2. It misses because of the weird terrain, which is a shame. But we get a big crit there. restage, trying to apply more bleed. Frostbite ran out, so we reapply it. Restage again. Now it's going to do its rampage. As Duchess, if you have your ults, use your ults, and then you will prevent the Mabba Worm from continuing its lava running around rampage. You know, by far its most annoying attack. Again, I missed that charge R2. Sad, but it's fine. It's dead. Dagger crits do a ton of damage when you have the bonuses. The unblockable blade on the coated sword, such a good Ash of War, but I don't take it. Because I have Blade of Calling. Okay, the circle's closing in. I know who's over there. Mr. Darth Vader himself. Or as I call him, the GOAT. Bell-bearing Hunter. I love fighting Bell-bearing Hunter as Duchess. Duchess absolutely destroys Bell-bearing Hunter. Especially if you're doing a status build. I do wish I had successive attacks to gain damage by this point, but I don't, so I have to bite the bullet. Get some defense boost from the charge up. I use my charge heavy to redirect myself there to just get out of harm's way. That's another thing you can do with her charge R2 because she has so much range. Really, the lunge that she does with her charge heavy is pretty ridiculous. And that right there is just a Duchess certified. Being able to dodge that burst like that after a heavy attack. And he's going to stance break. Oh, he would have did there. There we go. And he's out of here. Pretty simple and clean. Oh, Ice Ran Hatchet is so good. With basically any character. I really wanted it, but I didn't take it because I didn't want to get rid of the lightning straight sword. So I took a passive that is absolutely useless for me. Thank you, crab. Kill those crabs there to just have my ult at the ready. And also to replenish my HP a bit with the rally. And with the Augur Relic, we're already back to full HP. Augur Relic is so good now. It is actually so good now. Crafted Scion, very susceptible to status effects. There's the Frost. Ooh, gotta be careful though. Yeah. Gotta be careful with this guy. That was a very unfortunate miss on that riposte. I decided to pop my ult here just because, you know, started getting a little bit flustered, but this restage is gonna send it off. That is a very funny seal, and do I take it? Yeah, I do take it. So here we have this Crucible, and we're just going to smack his shield and run around him like that. A tried and true Elden Ring classic to deal with these shield Crucible Knights. Honestly, I don't know why I was fighting this guy. I'm already level 15. Like, for what purpose am I fighting this dude? I will say, though, if they drop Ordorvis Greatsword and you're playing as Duchess and you don't have a Wilder, pick it up. Unironically, pick it up. Because the Ordorvis Vortex, you use that and then restage it. The stance damage that you do with that is hilarious. Because do keep in mind that restage reapplies damage, status effects, and stance damage. It's not just regular damage. A lot of people still think that it's only damage when it's not. Deathrite Bird. We have just the weapon for it. Which is why every time I get a form of holy damage, I keep it. Like, literally just for this boss. If I find a Sacred Misericord or something like that, I keep it for the rest of the run. Or I try to, but a Blade of Calling is an easy pickup no matter what. It is easily one of Duchess's best daggers. Yeah. Do a charge R2 into Lost. And we're going to just Blade of Calling and Blade of Calling. Wave of Gold, the skill is called. And there it is. Successive attacks negate damage. That is the easiest pickup of the run. Even if I don't use that weapon, which is actually a very good weapon. But successive attacks negate damage on Duchess. By this point, I was thinking, oh, finally, dude. Finally, I get it. So now I'm running to a church, grab another flask. That way, by the time we reach the Night Lord, we are at 6 total, which I think for Duchess is more than enough. Especially if you are running the rally and you have these damage negation passives. You really do not need flasks. Most of your healing is going to come from the Bloodborne rally, even against Night Lords. If you have improved damage negation of full HP and successive attacks negate damage, you will be surprised just how little damage you actually take. And you can just rally it right back up so fast because Duchess is like a speeding bullet, you know? She's so quick. I'm just spamming Wave of Gold. Or not Wave of Gold. That's Sacred Relic Sword. Just keep spamming the weapon skill. Restage. Yeah, see how little damage that did. And I didn't even have the bubble up from successive attacks. I also did get Lord of Bloods, which was a really nice pickup to get. I wish I had that earlier. But alas, we have it now. What's y'all's favorite Duchess outfit? She has a lot of good ones. Messing around with the longsword moveset because I miss it. I think I was waiting to see what it was going to be. Ah, yep, it is Commander Niao. What an annoying boss. I wanted to see how much damage the Frenzy Flame would do. It did a good amount of damage. Duchess can actually use faith weapons, faith incantations fairly well, despite not having the highest faith stat in the main game. If you're playing on Deep of Night, and you have the relic that gives her more faith, then she does amazingly with incantations. And yet we're just going to reapply those statuses. Go invisible to give us a little bit of a breather here while we hopefully stance break this guy. Had to back up because I do not want to get hit by bats. But we do get the stance break, but unfortunately we get the back hit, which I did not want. And now we are on the back foot. I really should have just swapped to Blade of Calling here just to use the skill. But I was immediately being stubborn for a little bit. I do believe it is what I do, because I just get fed up with it. Yep. Oh yeah, it's called Blade of Gold, not Way of Gold. Just get him out of here. The Banished Knights, that one, that double sword one, he's always rushing you down. He's so annoying, actually. Over 300k runes. That's Crucible Knights for you. Yeah, I don't even bother with the Wending Grace. We don't need it. We're good. Okay, Everdark Fulgor. Very susceptible to status effects. So, makes him one of the more ideal bosses to actually use his build against. Really, the only two Everdark bosses where this build does pretty meh against is Augur and Bolster. Augur can be frostbitten, but good luck actually hitting that stupid thing with your dagger. Whereas Healster is just immune to, I think, every status effect. Maybe not Scarlet Rot, because the Rot does indeed consume all. And you got a bleed proc there, so we restage it, get more damage. And this attack, Duchess can just surge, sprint, and jump. She's the only character that can really do this and not lose every ounce of stamina. And try to reapply that frostbite. Guess successive attacks that go damage up. The fastest way to proc successive attacks that gain damage against bosses, be it field bosses or Everdarks, is using Duchess's uncharged R2 attack. Procs it very fast. Gonna dodge that attack by surge sprinting around him during the windup. And we just dash back in because we're Duchess. You see there, I couldn't get the bubble up even though I hit him plenty there with R1 attacks. It just requires a stronger threshold, which we get right here with the heavy attacks. He's stomping around a lot. Restage it. Oh, I get nicked there. Shame. I've done this boss no damage before, multiple times actually, but this round just wasn't one of them. So funny interaction with Duchess ult here. He just shoots at nothing, which is awesome. And just like that, he's gone. Status Duchess build. No RNG having to worry about it. Just pure build from start to finish. Very viable to do on normal mode and Deep of Night as well, due to it being percentage damage. I highly suggest you give it a try if you haven't. And thank you for watching. I wish you all a good one, and take care.